Hi, my name is Mukid and you are watching The Mooks Files. On the evening of 17 September 2021, what should have been a routine walk home became a tragedy that shocked a community. This is the story of Sabina Nessa, a beloved young teacher, a daughter, a sister, whose life was cut short in a London park. Tonight on The Mooks Files, we take you through the events, the investigation, the courtroom and the legacy of a case that reignited questions about women's safety on our streets. Sabina Nessa was 28 years old when she died. She grew up in Sandy, Bedfordshire, and studied sociology at the University of Greenwich, graduating in 2014, before gaining her PGCE at the University of Bedfordshire in 2020. After qualifying, Sabina took up a teaching post at Rushy Green Primary School in Catford, South East London, working with Year 1 pupils, helping children take their first steps in formal schooling. Friends and family remember her as kind, generous and full of light. She loved flowers, animals, clothes, and especially the children she taught. On that Friday evening, she left home for a very short walk, just minutes to meet a friend at a local pub. She never arrived. Sabina left her flat on Astel Road, Kidbrooke, in the London Borough of Greenwich, around 20:30. Her destination, the Depot pub in Kidbrooke Village, a walk of roughly 5 minutes. But on this night, Sabina took a shortcut through the adjacent green space, Cater Park. The park was known locally, but as darkness fell, she had previously told friends she felt uneasy walking through it alone. Meanwhile, miles away in Eastbourne, East Sussex, 36-year-old Koti Selimaj had driven up to London earlier that evening. He had booked a hotel room earlier in the week, and on that night he entered Cater Park around 20:00. He wandered the park for roughly 20-30 minutes before Sabina arrived. CCTV later showed Sabina walking along the path, unaware of him behind her, before he struck. The weapon, a 2-foot-long metal traffic emergency triangle. He then dragged her off the path into longer grass, strangled her and partially concealed her body under leaves. Her body was found the following evening by a dog walker. The ensuing investigation by the Metropolitan Police Service was urgent and intense. Initial appeals sought help from the public via CCTV stills of a suspect and a vehicle in the area of Pegler Square and Cater Park. On 26 September 2021, Selimaj was arrested in Eastbourne. He was charged on 27 September. The prosecution described the murder as predatory and premeditated, the victim a lone woman walking home. In court documents, Judge Mr. Justice Sweeney summarized that Sabina was wholly blameless, and this attack added to the sense of insecurity that people, particularly women, have, walking or traveling alone, especially at night. Selimaj initially pleaded not guilty to murder in December 2021, despite admitting he was responsible for her death. Later, on 25 February 2022, he changed his plea to guilty. At the sentencing hearing on 8 April 2022, he was given a life imprisonment, with a minimum term of 36 years before possible parole. In handing down the sentence, the judge said the appropriate starting point was 30 years because the murder involved sexual conduct, and then added aggravating factors, premeditation, prior violence, targeting a lone female, increasing the term. After deduction for the guilty plea, the minimum term reached 36 years. The court further noted the lack of remorse on the part of the defendant. He refused to attend his sentencing hearing and made no statement. The impact on Sabina's family, friends and former pupils was profound. Her sister, Jabina Yasmin Islam, said, "She had the right to be walking down the path and enjoying herself. She had the right to feel safe." Colleagues at her school described how children were upset. A teacher they knew and trusted had been murdered while walking through a park. The case reignited national debate in the UK over the safety of women in public spaces. Some commentators asked whether women of colour received the same attention when murdered as white women. Vigils were held in Kidbrooke and beyond. Local residents expressed fear, one saying, "I don't want them out alone." The Mayor of London at the time labelled violence against women a national epidemic. Why retell this story? Because it holds lessons. First, predatory violence. This was a stranger attack, carefully planned, targeting a solitary woman in a place she believed safe. Second, environmental and societal factors. It raises questions about lighting and safety in public parks, the culture of walking home, and the attitudes towards lone women. Third, response and attention. The case underscored concerns that murders of women of color may not always prompt the same level of media or systemic response. Fourth, legacy and prevention. Sabina's murder became part of a push for changes: better lighting in parks, more visible policing, community vigils, and conversations about how society protects women. Sabina Nessa's life was vibrant, committed, and full of promise. Her death was senseless, brutal, and tragic. As we reflect, we remember her not just as a victim, but as a teacher, friend, sister, a person whose life mattered. For viewers, if we're going to have a takeaway, it is this: trust your instincts. If you feel unsafe walking alone, take the safer route. Share your whereabouts with someone. And society, we must continue to ask, why is the default assumption that women are vulnerable out at night? Why isn't that the exception? Let us honor Sabina's memory by insisting on change, in policy, in mindset, in how we protect one another, because no one should have to be afraid of a walk home. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mooks Files. If you found value here, please like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below about what steps we can all take to make our streets safer. If you or someone you know is feeling unsafe, reach out to local support services. The conversation matters. The change begins with awareness. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.